Hello everybody, welcome back. It's kind of a windy Saturday out there today, so I figured we'd do the intro clip inside the shop so I can save you at least a little bit of that, I hate that sound, the wind sound across my microphone. Shox has talked a couple of times about maybe crocheting something to put over the mic area of my camera. I think we might give that a try at this point because anything is bound to help. Anyway, the point and purpose of today's video is basically to make a really quick garden screen for the composts that I have around the property. I have quite a few compost piles around the property, and I have recently learned that while it's a little more labor intensive than what I grew up with, one can compost out here if they turn it pretty actively. I've been struggling to quit smoking, I've been turning the compost a lot with my, we'll call it spare frustration. Because that was one of the triggers that my brain used to give me to make me smoke. So I get frustrated, I go out, I hit the pitchfork, I turn to compost. And since I've been doing that, the rear compost behind the shop looks freaking fantastic. So I am going to use some of that for some of the landscaping. That's why we call it the landscaping compost. And I'm going to use some of that for some really basic garden building. But before I can do that, I've got to sift out the, chunks of dog poop. I don't want those in there. And larger rocks, sticks, things of that nature. So I need a screen. Now, back in the valley, we had that beautiful compost tumbler that I built. I will try and link the video at the end of this video if I remember. But that thing was basically a homemade drum, and I screened it with a hardwire cloth, and I would turn it around, and the compost would sift through the bottom. I'd open the door, drop out the big stuff, and carry on. I could sort the entire compost in a matter of hours. It was beautiful. However, it was too large and awkward to move all the way halfway across the country, like 1,200 miles or something like that, right? It's crazy. I figured I'd just build another one here. Never have gotten around to that. Quelle surprise. So I'm going to make this for now, and in the future I am still going to remake one of those tumblers. I do encourage you to check out the video. A, you get a good laugh at me, because I was way more timid back then, and B, it's just an interesting idea. If you actively have a compost that you have to turn, check out the video. Might be something to consider. Anywho, what we're building today is this. Well, I have learned that you can use the bottom of these planter trays from the nursery to more or less sift your compost. It's a little on the smaller side, a little on the flimsy side. What I have here is a shelf that I disassembled for boards to make the door to the chicken coop. Still need to finish that part of it, but I've got this beautiful frame, right? And then what I've got here is 10 foot by 2 foot or 3 foot of hardware cloth. So since I only need 5 feet for the door, that leaves me 5 feet for my screen. It's not tiny mesh, but I'm not looking for super fine here. I'm looking for, good chunks of organic material that have the dog poop removed. So I think this will be perfectly adequate. When I get to building the tumbler, I'll probably go for something about half that size though. I'm really lucky with this particular project because most of the work is done for me. It's got, reinforcements on the legs. It's got a little bit of elevation there. It's probably going to spend most of its life sitting on top of, wait for it, the ice fishing sled, because I use that for everything. I'm going to be hauling soil around in it anyway. I might as well sift my compost into it. But, yeah. Most of my work here is already done. And conveniently, I'll just toss this down for reference. Stay. It's a little bit wider. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it to the underside. Well, I'll show you as I go, but just for those of you who are too impatient to watch the whole video, I'm going to attach it to the underside and have it resting over and then dipping down a little bit in and then up, over, and attached again. And since washers are a little overpriced around here, I'm going to be defacing some coin to do it, but that's just fine. We'll get to that when we get to it too. So there you go. For those people too impatient to watch the entire video, and I know there are plenty out there, I check my average view statistics, that is the overall plan. I'll see you guys later. For the rest of you, stick around and maybe get a beverage. I have no idea how long this particular video is going to take, but yeah. enjoy the step-by-step as I actually put this sucker together. Alright, so in typical JT Bear fashion, we're already looking at 2 changes in the plan. First off, Shocks caught me going outside to do yard work without safety gear, so I've now got these things on. And secondly, turns out I used most of the screws that I was looking for putting this roof on, so I'm gonna have to fake it and staple gun it for now, head into town next week, grab some screws, reinforce it then. Doesn't matter, the staple gun should do for this. I'm not putting like massive amounts of weight on this screen anyway. It's just a little compost screen. Well, it's just a compost screen. Not sure little applies. Interesting sort of side note though, I was pricing washers at the co-op for about this size here. I'm looking at, you know, 9 to 11 cents depending on which of the 2 sizes available I want to go with. Because of the round up, round down, no penny rules here in Canada, the average nickel only costs about 4 cents. So I'm just going to drill a hole in those, make washers of my own. But as I said, I don't have the screws, so we're back to the staple gun for now. I start into far too many of my projects without actually checking to see if I've got the materials, and then it's just too late, you know? That's just how it goes. Well, I tell you, between this and putting the chicken mash up on that pen, I'm really starting to see the value in one of those pneumatic staple guns. Never really did before, but then again, my use of this thing has been rather sporadic in the past. Anywho, slowly but surely, gonna staple all that on, fold it around the edges, and check back a couple times along the way, I'm sure. Really kind of all depends on how many moments I get in between gusts of wind. So yeah, you know how it goes. So it is worth mentioning to those who might be following along at home that if you're using a staple gun, it's not going to send it all the way down, and it is very much worth giving these staples just that little bit of a love tap with your hammer. See the job done, you know? So stapled in, hammered in, grabbed my wire snips, cleaned it up fairly nice at the bottom there. Now it's just time to fold it over, staple down the sides. I don't have to though. Suppose I could just cut these edges off, but what am I going to do with that bit of trim? Well, I suppose just because I don't know now. Well, I don't know, we'll see. As it suddenly occurs to me, a place where I could use scraps about that size. Alright, I guess I'm cutting them off. My little ice fishing sled, where would I be without this thing? I'd be lost. That's where I'd be. So a quick screening, not too much pressure. Million and one ways I could use this better. This is kind of just for the purpose of demonstration. A little flat shovel here may not have been my best choice, but I think we get the point here. So now, it's time to make the beginning of yet another raised bed garden. But this one's going to be for fruit that aren't going to produce for quite a few years. So I'm not too worried about it. And the fruit they do produce won't be chicken food anyway. So, let's get on to that bit. All things considered, that really doesn't look too bad. Lots of nice organic material. Yeah, there may be a tiny amount of dog waste left in that, but it'll break down and deal with itself. I have faith. Not too worried about it. Cool, filled the sled and basically got a bed. I think before I get into all that though, I'm gonna run inside, grab myself a cup of coffee. Getting a little windy, a little chilly. Well, it's always been windy, but it's getting a little chilly as the day progresses. So, yes, I'll be right back. Okay, so I need a little something to control the unintentionals that are gonna try and grow up through this. I figure what could be more appropriate than the box the chicken wire came in, especially since I'm pretty sure I've got 2 more of them coming. So, once the next one gets here, that'll be this section. And that's perfect. Might even end up going around the corner here. We'll see, because that's the extra bundle there. But that's not what we're doing today. Basically just screening some compost, making a raised bed. So I have to say, it's a little rough, but it's absolutely beautiful organic material to start this garden bed with. This screen is far from perfect. I think one of the first things I'll be doing is putting some considerably longer legs on that. Because when it's not sitting across the ice fishing sled, it's pretty shallow. This is all I got to sift out of here. And there's a fair bit of compost for me to work with, so I should be able to make some really nice looking beds there in time, but I won't bore you guys with all the details of that. However, when I do get to planting in there, I'll probably show up on one channel or another. That's probably about where we're going to wrap it up for today. I mean, the screen project itself is done. The basics of the next project are begun. Y'all kind of have a good idea of what I'm doing here. And yeah, why I'm comfortable to use the landscaping compost. So I think we've covered all our bases with this one. And I will see you guys tomorrow as we take a look at what's left of the entire garden around here. Some interesting stuff going on with the tomatoes that I left out for scientific reasons. So yeah, tune in tomorrow, bring a beverage, we'll check it out.